reason that the organizers used the phrase Black Lives Matters was not because they were suggesting nobody else's lives matter. Rather, what they were suggesting was there is a specific problem that is happening in the African American community that's not happening in other communities. And that is a legitimate issue that we've got to address.
Oh, but folks just lost their little precious mind. New Jersey Governor Chris Christie, he was on CBS Face the Nation, and he was just beside himself.
The problem is this: there's lawlessness in this country. The president encourages this lawlessness. He encourages it.
Encourages it how?
Well, by his own rhetoric. He does not support the police. He doesn't back up the police. He justifies Black Lives Matter. I mean,
but Black Lives Matter shouldn't be justified at all.
Listen, I don't believe that movement should be justified when they're calling for the murder of police officers. No.
But they're not calling for the murder of police officers.
Sure they are. They've been chanting in the streets for the murder of police officers.
Well, individuals have, but the Black Lives Matter.
Listen, John, that's what the movement is creating. And the President of the United States is justifying that. But not only that, he hasn't backed up police officers from the minute he's gotten into office. And we could cite instance after instance. And there's a lawlessness about no sanctuary cities. We should not have sanctuary cities in this country. The president countenances that. That type of lawlessness sets a tone. And then when you have liberal mayors like Bill de Blasio in New York, who are basically tying one hand behind the back of police officers, and then we have folks, murder rate up 11%, police officers in New York City being murdered. Let me tell you very clearly, I'll be a president who will back up law enforcement, back up the police officers, because I was a law enforcement officer. I know how hard these jobs are.
Okay, first of all, you're not going to be president, so you can just go ahead and give that up. So I don't know what the hell you're talking about. But here's the other piece, Chris Christie. President Barack Obama has often spoken out for police officers, and I recall him being at the Congressional Black Caucus. We made that perfectly clear as well, refuting your talking point and that of Fox News. And speaking of Fox News, Sean Hannity, he had the audacity, the unmitigated gall, to say Black Lives Matter to equate them with the Klan.
How in this day and age can you say Black Lives Matter, all lives matter, and just say Black lives? Hispanic lives don't matter, Asian lives don't matter, white lives don't matter, the unborn lives don't matter?
Larry, straighten him out, will you? Straighten him out.
That is
because Asians don't vote 95% for the Democratic Party, Hispanics don't vote 95% for the Democratic Party, blacks do, and they want to make sure they keep that. So you have Debbie Wasserman shows, the chairwoman of the DNC, saying things like, the Republicans want to drag us back to Jim Crow. You have Charlie Rango saying George W. Bush is our Bull Connor, referring to the Southern sheriff that sick dogs and turned water hoses on black civil rights workers. That's what this is all about. Let's not talk about the economy, because you can't talk about that. Net worth for blacks are down. The so-called wealth gap between blacks and whites, 25-year high.
Can't run on their
labor force participation rate, they can't run on their record. No.
That means you're allowed to pander it.
Really? Y'all put Larry Elder to talk about Black Lives Matter? Right. Then, of course, you have Bill O'Reilly, okay? The same person who has been condemning Black Lives Matter, who also said that he would challenge any journalist who defended Black Lives Matter. I've raised my hand, but Bill, for some reason, won't call. In fact, my people have called Bill's executive producers to talk about this here, but they said, we'll take it to Bill. But I guess Bill too scared to talk to a real black man to debate Black Lives Matter, but no, he wants to sit here and say Black Lives Matter. They're like Nazis.
Is it right or wrong for the DNC to ally itself with this group that has called for police officers to be killed? Is that right or wrong?
I think the DNC is allying itself with this group.
They just said they want to have an event with them where their candidates can come
and they also said, Bill, that we repudiate any calls for violence. That's been on the record from the DNC.
They have not repudiated any calls for violence. All right, give me the name of the person who has done that. Do you have it?
Okay, I do. In a statement issued yesterday by the DNC, they said the DNC repudiates all calls for violence.
The DNC. I'm talking about, look, would you be comfortable with the Republican Party bringing in the storm front, the Nazi people, and saying, we'd like our candidates to talk to you guys? Would you be comfortable with that,
No.
Mr. Goodford? Okay.
No, I wouldn't.
They're an extreme group, the Nazi Party. The Black Lives Matter is also an extreme group, as you've heard, as we've proven.
No, actually, you haven't proven anything besides you being stupid, Bill O'Reilly. Because the fact of the matter is, I know for a fact that Tamika Mallory, who's one of the leaders of the New York Justice League, has actually condemned people in making those particular chants. A handful of people at one protest in St. Paul. There were some folks at the protest in New York, but somehow the millions of of people across the country who have been marching as a part of Black Lives Matter, somehow all of them are like the Klan. All of them are like Nazis. Really? Really, Bill O'Reilly? No, you have never met a fact you cannot lie about. And that's the reality. But here's what you also have. Last week, of course, the DNC did say